Greetings and welcome back to From the Depths, Dapplings! We are currently in a conquered zone. There were no combatants here, so we simply took it over as soon as we entered it. And I currently have the two Sobeks and the Abaya in holding their position. Now, the beginning of this episode, I've kind of planned it. We're going to be doing something a little bit different this time from what I intended. I've received a lot of feedback regarding the idea of turning the Sobeks into subs, which, while some people have taken issue with the idea of turning the Sobeks into subs simply because they like the Sobeks as surface boats, and that's actually, you know, completely a fair assessment of it. It is nice to have a diverse fleet. Some bemoan subs because they are broken. They feel that there's no AI support, and they're true. They're correct about that. There isn't any AI support. The AI doesn't understand how subs are meant to work and will happily drive it straight into the seabed. But where some people see insurmountable challenges, others see an opportunity to find novel solutions. And a few Dapplings came to me, noting the same problems that many had seen, but offering advice on how I could perhaps look to resolve this situation. And with that advice, I have taken steps to design, or rather retrofit the Abaya. Now, we don't have any building facilities here to help me retrofit this one, so, and given that I ultimately am going to want more than one Abaya, I'm actually going to build another one. This is going to be an updated Abaya. Now, I've taken the advice and I've tweaked it and analyzed it and seen what would work for me. So it is time to build a new Abaya and then use that one to retrofit this one and then send the new one back to base. Or take the new one with us. But let's go ahead. Now, the Abaya version 7. It is almost certainly going to be affordable for us. So load in the Abaya, please. There we go. Now, it's going to take us a few moments to put this together, but while it's going together, you may notice a couple of things. One, we've got some repair bots. I've extended certain parts here and there to add in repair bots. But two, down here, there is a automated control block. Now, it's facing down. The facing of a control block, I'll cover that in a moment, but it's basically the back plate. If you imagine the controls facing towards you, then the side facing away from you is effectively the front and the direction that the control block is looking in. Now, that control block, which was at the bottom of one of the limbs, activate if object in front within 40 meters, activate the hydrofoils to 45 degrees. Basically, pull it up. No time limit. Now, all of that is pretty important. Really, are you trying to drive backwards? Oh, you silly, silly duck. Let me quickly turn that off. Where is the actual Abaya? AI on, please. Have you finished building it? Yes, you have. Well done, you. Now, if we have a look at this, we will see that there are lots of these control blocks. If I actually go into build mode on this vehicle, we can have a better look at it. Now, again, the back plate is pointing down. And that means that underneath this limb, and on both limbs, in fact, it's checking beneath itself. If there's any object within 40 meters, it will set its hydrofoils to try and take it out of the water. Or try to ascend, at the very least. There are many such sensors like that now across the underside of the Abaya. There are 3 directly underneath. This middle one controls the air pumps, though. Because I figure if there's something underneath it, it's probably going to be detected by the front or the back, because it's going to be in motion most of the time. And in that case, please tell me I'm not reversing. No, I am reversing a little bit, but it's okay. Actually, let me just pulse. Oh, I'm controlling the wrong one. Never mind. But if this one detects something 35 meters below it, it'll turn the air pumps onto full. Usually they're only running at 10%. And this one, these other two will control the hydrofoils. Again, on the sides, we have another sensor here set to 40 meters, this one to 40 meters, because this one's a little lower down. It's got a sensor set to a little bit less of a depth. Now, we've also got some repair bots there as well, and you may even notice we've now got doors into the Abaya. Yes, I addressed that structural weakness. I don't want to be a prisoner in my own sub. But there we go. So we've got sensors all over the Abaya that are constantly looking down to see if we're approaching the floor. And if we are, it's going to try and take us up. We've also got a front-facing sensor right here that does exactly the same thing. But this one is checking 50 meters ahead, because if the Abaya is moving at full speed, you're going to need to start adjusting course very, very soon. You can't wait until the last moment. And 50 meters is the maximum range that this sensor can reach out to. Internally, we've done a few things. We have the same AI set up everywhere. We've got some spares crates in here. Lots of people wanted me to add in some spares crates. So we've got 2 spares crates, and we've got 4 internal repair bots. Now, the ammo is no longer there, and it's not going to be going back there. I've made a little space for any kind of vulnerable supplies, such as ammunition, that I would like to bring along. And 3 ammo barrels should be enough to run the Abaya, at least with the weapon system the other one has. Now, there are some more control blocks. This one, the Abaya is now able to safely operate at much, much greater depth. When the altitude is less than 200, it will activate, but it's got a 3-second delay. So whereas all of the sensors which are checking for proximity to collidable structures, that is landscape, I'm not sure if it'll trigger on other ships. It probably will, though. But I haven't actually tested that. I know it'll trigger on itself, so I'm assuming it'll trigger on anything. But these ones that are controlling its natural, its kind of cruise depth, they have a slight delay in how they'll react. Whereas all of the sensors immediately try to change its heading. These ones will only activate. They'll check frequently, but they'll only change something after 3 seconds. So there's a little bit of a delay. So it'll bob up and down in the water, whereas it'll react very, very aggressively to any impending collision. This one, when its altitude is greater than 150, so it now has an operational depth of 150 to 200. Then it'll set the hydrofoils and it'll try to dive or climb, depending on which one we're looking at. But above, we've got 2 more. This one controls the air pumps. This one has a delay of 10 seconds. Every 10 seconds, it will try to set the air pumps back to 10% of their buoyancy. Whereas this one is constantly trying to set it to 100% buoyancy if it believes we're too close to the bottom of the ocean. So that one, one of the big problems I always had with control blocks previously is that they would interfere with each other. But the delay makes certain things very, very accessible now. Whereas previously, if you had everything trying to fight over each other and when to activate things, things would be very unpredictable. But because of the delay, we can now do some very complex things with the advanced control blocks. Now, this one is a bit of an interesting one. If health above 0, with a 5-second delay, then set the hydrofoils to neutral, basically all ahead, rather than trying to climb or dive. Now, if it happens to check it whilst we're somewhere in the middle, somewhere in the range between 150 and 200 meters below the surface, it'll just maintain that heading. It makes this more or less, in theory, incapable of driving itself into the ocean floor. Now, it could still ground itself by trying to swim over an island, and I'm not sure what I can do with the AI on that score, but hopefully the naval AI will try to avoid those kinds of situations anyway. Now, the one thing this doesn't have is any kind of weapon system, but that can be added on the fly. And in fact, I think I'm going to take this one with us, and I'm going to build its weapon system while we're on the move. We've been stationary for far too long. But the first thing I want to do, before we do anything else, let's get you to help with the Abaya. So I want to come out of build mode. I want to go over to the Abaya. Abaya, I want you to reverse. I want you to get closer. There we are. Just reverse up to it. Now, it does kind of go a bit wonky when it's reversing. Right, that's close enough. Just hold this position. I would now like you very much to retrofit. I would like you to retrofit to a new Abaya. There we go. Retrofit to version 7. A lot of stuff will be broken. Nope. Turn off your AI. Off, 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 off. Where is your combat AI? There we go. There we are. Now, you'll be very quickly put back together. I guess I could have done that and just repaired it myself, but I wanted another Abaya anyway. I think you should now be at full health. Yes, you are. Okay. Now, actually, we'll take you back with this. You can go back to Dock City, or rather, Armok's throne yourself. But before we send this vessel over there, we need to give it a name. So let's jump over there. Now we should be on the Abaya. just the regular Abaya. Now, in theory, this can no longer drive itself aground. It can no longer crash. It can no longer sink itself. It can still be shot, and there's nothing we can do about that. But it should now be unsinkable in terms of its own of its own actions. So you know it's coming. This shall be, and I realize this is just asking for trouble. And that's kind of why I'm doing it. The HMB, Her Majesty's Boat Titanic 2. Kudos to you if you get the 2 references that that name draws upon. If you know where the 2 comes from in Titanic 2, then give yourself 50 dapper points. But that is it. Titanic 2, you can go back. We're going to go into the chair now. Titanic 2, you're going to leave this fleet. You're going to be on your own. And we are going to pull you out of here. In fact, actually, because I haven't yet run the Titanic 2, it's not going to know what its max speed is. So we're just going to ramp up its speed. Full speed ahead. And watch how it does things. Now it's going to climb a little bit, and then it should, those hydrofoils should level out. There we go. Now here's the test. I could just try to dive, oh actually it's going to try and dive down because it's too high. But as you can see, it's detected the ocean floor and it's adjusting its heading. Now it'll climb for a bit. It's climbing very, very aggressively. And it should stop climbing. There we go. It's pulling itself back down now. The ocean floor is actually fairly close over here, so it's probably not going to get too low down. But there we go. We're going to get it back down a little bit. I'm just letting it run for a few moments, letting it work out how fast it can move. That way I can send it home without it taking a million years to get there. And pull up. Don't crash, Titanic 2. Oh, my lord. You worried me there for a second. Just for a second, mind you. Only, well, maybe even less than a second. Probably like 0.98 of a second. I was concerned. But there we are. Titanic 2, you have moved around a little bit. Now, it's not actually safe to have the Titanic 2 just doing its own thing. What you want is to have it actually using its AI. Otherwise, what happens is it'll literally run aground, unless you're paying close attention and not actually steering it towards an island. But the AI won't generally steer it towards islands. So, there we go. Or at least that's my firmest hope. Now this should also try to avoid, well, it'll not actually steer out of the way of hitting other vehicles, but it will actually try to climb over them, which will be an interesting thing to see. But that's enough. Titanic 2, you can come out of there. Now, I'm wondering whether we should change the setup of the Abaya. Actually, I kind of think we should. Let's go back down. We're going to bring the Abaya in. Let's load the Abaya in. Now, we've got a number of things that we can do in here. I do actually want the Abaya to have a weapon system. I don't want to go back to not having one. But are 3 ammo barrels going to be enough? This is the question that's on my mind. Let's lock that position. And then tip it to the side. Like so. Then we can have all 3. There we are. So that's the ammo for the Abaya. Now, if I really want to protect it, and I kind of do, we can go ahead and we can add this in. But there is enough room here for me to do one other thing if I really needed to. If I find that 3 ammo barrels isn't generating enough passive ammo for the Abaya, for its weapon systems, whatever they may be. Actually, let's build this in another way. Then what I can do is I can replace 2 of the ammo barrels with a basic, with a ammo processor. So it'll fill the 1 remaining ammo barrel very, very aggressively. There we go. So that's a little bit more shielded now from attack. You will also notice that the ceiling is down a little bit. So that actually gives us some room to play up here. Yes, we could have this there, and then we could have the AI somewhere around here. Yeah, that seems reasonable. So we want the missiles. We're going to make a new missile system here. We want it to be green so that it's all colored in. I'm not going to put a lot of protection on the very top. I want this to be on 1. So this is going to be largely visible. I could add a little bit of extra cladding if I really, really have to, but I'm going to resist that until it's clear that I do need to do that. And then bring this out this far. I think... yeah, that'll work. We want the missile launch pads facing this away. There we go. And then the missile blocks. Now we can actually have fairly potent torpedoes here. If we really want to. Like crazy potent torpedoes. That's way, way more powerful than I really think they need to be. So, kind of want to move this forward then. But I do like having the AI right there. So what we'll do is we'll just drag this forward a little bit. I really don't think we want missiles that potent. I mean, you might be thinking, well, there's no such thing as too potent for a torpedo, but I kind of disagree. Namely because our 3 ammo barrels are going to have to be running this thing constantly. So we don't want to go overboard with that. There we go. And we can have... yeah, we'll just pop that in there. Now then, we've got these edges. I wouldn't mind making this a nice long triangle, color black, just to kind of feed the torpedoes forward. Okay. Well, still, I kind of like the sort of spike effect at the top there. Now, the thing that we can do here, get the metal block, color it green, and then 1, 2. There we go. Now this missile system is gonna take a bit of a pounding if we're not careful. But I suppose we could. I mean, down here I've extended it down a little bit. There's no reason not to do the same at the top. Alright, there we go. So the Abaya has a front-facing torpedo system now using a laser designator to guide the torpedoes to their target. It is going to mean that we're going to need to make these very, very, very maneuverable so they can turn. That was one of the nice things about the Abaya's turreted system, is that it could pretty much engage anything regardless of the heading of the Abaya. But this shouldn't be too terribly bad, in my opinion. And it is a little bit more protected now as well, which is always a bonus. Right, so we want a torpedo. Let's see. We want torpedo propeller there. We'll have 1 fuel tank. We can probably get away with 3 fins. In fact, we'll have a fin there, a fuel tank there, a fin there. We want a laser designator receiver at the front. I think we want to go with just lots of... where are we? Shrapnel here. Target prediction guidance. Will that... well, we could go with that, I suppose. I don't think we really need it with the designator, honestly. Use the fins to accelerate the missile such that the target is a constant bearing. This helps to ensure an impact. The downside is it only effective when closing on the target. At large angles, it will not converge. Because of this, APMG does not play well with 1 turns. No, I think using the laser designator means that we're pretty free to do whatever we want with this. A proximity fuse might be quite nice, though. So it causes the warheads to detonate on anything except other projectiles within a range of 3 meters of the fuse in a forward-facing arc. Activates after 1 second. Yeah, we'll have that and an extra fin. Range 5 meters. Yeah, that seems good. The first one will be a fairly wide range, so we'll have about 35 degrees. The second will have a 20 degree. Actually, we'll have that even shorter. We'll have that 15, 20. And the last one will be 5 degrees. So it's going to just plow all of its shrapnel forward. This one's going to spread out a bit. And then this one a little bit beyond that as well. Actually, we'll make that 25. There we go. That's actually quite a nice setup. 5, 15, 25. Laser designator receiver. That's all good. Assign design, same length missiles. We'll also save this. We've currently got an Eel Mark 1. We'll call this the... Box Jellyfish Mark 1. There we go. An extremely dangerous jellyfish. It might have actually been better to have EMP on it for that sort of name, but we could go with EMP. We could put it there just so that we could hit any AI just at the bottom, maybe. Yeah, it's tempting. Yeah, why not? We'll go with that. Assign that and then save over the box jellyfish. There we go. Alright. I think that weapon system is pretty solid. Right, now we need to find the missile controller. There we are, and 2 down. Should put us right underneath where we need to place the AI. Right then. We need to think about this. Let's pull everything else in. I need to check on the AI down here. AI mainframe. Target prioritization. How is this set up to target things? Range, the further away, the less it wants to bother with it. No, I will actually set that. It'll still be negative, but won't be as negative. Speed doesn't really care. In fact, actually the slower the better for this. So we'll drop that down to 1. There we go. I am fairly happy with that. Now we're going to need to take you away and add in a... We want AI. We want to make the color red so that I know this is the weapon AI. And then wireless transmitter right there. Transmitting on channel 1 is fine. We will have a back to full select, local weapon controller. I need you upside down. I should be controlling 1 weapon. Minimum range to engage. Let's maximum range to engage. Let's set this out to about 1,200. I'm fairly certain. Well, let's set it to 1,000. I'm not entirely certain on. Again, I haven't looked into torpedoes as much as I have with missiles and their ranges, but the differences in the way that water slows things down and the length of torpedoes, that has changed since the last time I played around with them. So I'll leave it at that for now. Minimum altitude to engage, no limit. Maximum altitude to engage, we'll set this as 5. That our torpedoes will probably still be able to skim the water and catch them. That's all fine. Otherwise, we want a failsafe. This component can be attached to any local... No, we don't need that. That's more for cannons than anything else. Want a wireless receiver set to connect right there. And there we go. We don't need that on the other side, though. That can go away. Ah, scallywags. I just realized that that would happen as well. We'll make this one black. There we go. Perfect. That should be set up. This should be connected to mainframe. Everything is now where it should be. The only thing I could add in is a... Where are we? Identify friend or foe. Potential customize... Well, that's not necessary for this. Staggered fire. No, I'm fairly happy with it launching both torpedoes at the same time. Yeah. I'm okay with this. I think that is going to be a pretty solid weapon system, all things told. I could extend it out 1 more block and add in a ballast tank and a failsafe. But, well, that is that. The ballast tank would be particularly useful. Where are you, ballast tank? Let's find you. Magnet, ballast tank. I could get rid of the proximity fuse in favor of a ballast tank, because this would generally be better for us. Or I could just stick with 2 fins. I'll try with 2 fins. Stay at about 3 meters below the water. There we go. We'll save over the box jellyfish with that. Because the proximity fuse will at least cause it to detonate if things are just above it. But, okay, I'm fairly happy with that. We are good to go, I think. Right. This has been a fairly long episode, and all I've really done is build. I do apologize for that, but we are going to finish her off with a little bit of a fight. So let's pull all and get over here and see how the Abaya does. I might actually only have the Abaya engage, and we'll see how everything plays out with that. So I shall bring you back when we've got a fight on our hands. Okay, we are about to encounter an urchin, which means I want to bring only the Abaya into play. Oh, we've got some nasty rain clouds coming overhead, and I also want to turn the Abaya into combat mode. I don't want you attacking salvage, though. There we go. Now, we're actually in a fairly shallow area, so the Abaya isn't going to get that much depth before it has to pull up. But there we are. Ah, that's so much better now. Right, let's see. How far out are you? You are almost upon us. The battle is nearly begun. Where is the battle going to come from, though, is the question. I cannot see. Can't even see where I am anymore. There we are. Okay, battle has begun. Where is the combatant? Is that you over there? Let's unhook the camera. Yep, that is you. Okay, you're firing on the Abaya. Is the Abaya firing against you, though? Yep. Torpedoes have been launched. Where is the Abaya? There we are. All the way over here. Another torpedo up. Oh, that's glorious. Let's see how these do. And they're on their way. If I did extend it a little bit more, it would allow me to have an extra fin and probably an extra propeller as well, so that the torpedoes could get to their targets a little bit faster. But we're about to see how the box jellyfish torpedoes do. Fairly solid hit there. And again. Weapon is gone. AI dead. I could get up there, but in the time that it's going to take me to get there, it will have despawned, so there's almost no point of me even trying. But there we go. The Abaya did actually quite well with that. Okay, well, that fight was nowhere near enough of a challenge, so we're going to go for another one before I end this episode. Once again, I will bring you back when we're there. Well, unfortunately, as luck would have it, we are not going to be seeing the Abaya do anything to this particular enemy. It is an Atlas, so this is going to be solely the domain of the Sobex, so I'm going to go ahead and load them in. I will load the whole fleet in, simply because I like the Abaya and I want to see how well it does, but it's just going to sink down for a little bit. Now then, Sobex should be able to wipe out this Atlas long before it can really do anything, but we'll have to have a watch of that. There we go. Both Sobex have launched their missiles, and away they go. Now, who are you shooting at? You are trying to currently shoot at the Sobex, so that's fine. But this is going to be a hopelessly easy fight for us. Absolutely hopeless. And unless you get down in the water, there's no way that I'm going to be able to get up to you. But there we go. I think that is it for the Atlas. Goodbye, Atlas. I actually really do like this little thing, even though it's hopelessly outgunned. How are you doing down there, Abaya? Yeah, just chilling. At about almost 200 below the water. Ah, it's glorious. So, with that in mind, with the solution to our subs constantly grounding themselves and now able to operate much deeper. I mean, I could happily set this to like 500 so that this would effectively hug the ocean floor regardless how deep it was. There's a part of me that is tempted to do that. I can now, with some confidence, say that the Sobex would be fairly safe. I could make them subs. I would probably want them to operate a little bit closer to the surface of the water rather than the Abaya, which effectively could be as deep as it wants to be, simply because the Sobex would not be able to effectively use their missiles if they were too deep down, because it would take too long to launch them. But I pose the question once again. Do you feel we should make the Sobex subs, or, and this is an alternative, we could have a sub-variant of the Sobex? Sobex Mark II, for example, which would be a submarine style. And perhaps then, instead of the lasers, we could equip it with torpedoes. So it would have vertically launched missiles and torpedo capability. That's also on the cards. We would use pretty much exactly the same hull. We just replace some of the room that we've got for the laser systems with torpedo systems instead. That's definitely a possibility, but that is going to be it for this episode. Quite a lot of building. I do apologize for that, but pretty happy with what we've got. Ooh, there's a lot of bad things going on. What's happening? Okay, it wasn't you. Okay, that's not too bad then. I noticed all of the damage going on, and I was like, wait a second, is that because I've grounded something? Is the unsinkable Abaya actually sinkable? No. No, I should have more faith. But that's going to be it for this episode. Once again, I really do hope you've enjoyed the episode, and look forward to any feedback you have for me in the comments. But that is it for now, so until next time we meet, do take care.